Hello, and welcome back from the break. My name is Matthew McGlam. I'll be moderating today's session. Unfortunately, Matthew Hamby was unable to join us today with some of the storms that have been going on, but he did provide us with a recorded video so that we could still hear his presentation. He may not be available in the chat, but please do feel free to post questions there in case Matthew is able to tune in and respond in the chat. Otherwise, he does have his contact information available at the end of the presentation, and I'll be sure to leave that up for a few minutes so you have a chance to jot that down in case you have any questions. So without further ado, I'm going to switch over and share the video, and hope you all enjoy it. And again, thank you for joining. Just as a recap, that chat is to the right of the video. You can click that and join the chat. Also, this video, as well as all the other videos, will be made available on the NCGIS Conference YouTube channel at the conclusion of the conference. And please do be sure to tune in at 1 o'clock for the closing session. It'll only last about 15 minutes. So again, we appreciate you tuning in to the session and to the conference.
Hello, this presentation is of the Forsyth County Historic Centerline project. My name is Matthew Hamby, and I'm the addressing coordinator for Forsyth County. And this is a project that continues to grow for us and that we've started a few years ago. The function of addressing coordinator when I started had just moved into MapForsyth. It used to be a function that was handled by the planning department with the city of Winston-Salem. When we inherited addressing, we also inherited all this information that they had collected and maintained over several years. And these binders that you see here are of all the pertinent information for the street namings that went on in the city of Winston-Salem and Forsyth County from 1980 to the year 2000. When I started, we would just have to go find the book that somebody would call and request information on the street. We would go find that book, sort through it, find the correct street name, that packet, and we would scan that information in or make copies for them. It got to be very time consuming, as we would get requests from the city of Winston-Salem, the Forsyth County attorney's offices, administration for either one of those organizations. Private citizens would contact us asking about when roads were named and dedicated. Surveyors and developers who were building on 2 existing roads would request information about when the road became public, and various letters that we had collected from people that were requesting having to have a street named. And so all the information is in these books, and so we needed a way to access it more easily than just walking over and going to the cabinet and pulling that book out and sorting through it. Lots of times when they would call, they would just give us a street name and would not have any idea based on these books what year that street was dedicated or where that information was. So we would have to look through each binder. On the cover would be a paper like this one that would have all the streets that were inside this book listed. And so we would just pull the book and look at the cover. Is the street name on there? Yes or no? If it is, then we would open it up, find that particular information, and then, like I said, scan or copy that and give them that information. So pretty time consuming. And oftentimes there are multiple books for each year, and no one knew what year that the street would have been dedicated or named. Just giving you an idea of how much information is here. Each packet of street information was in a little plastic packet, so you can see here how many were listed in each book. The first step we wanted to do, or had to do, was to take these documents and turn them into a PDF format so that we could attach them. We had a light duty employee that was available to us, and we got with our IS department, and we had them set us up the hardware necessary to scan all these books in. So we had over 1,200 packets, individual street name packets, and the information inside of each of those packets would vary. Sometimes it was just a letter letting somebody from the transportation department or from the particular board saying that the street, was adopted and made public. And sometimes it would be maps or a list of somebody who wanted to get a street named after somebody, and they had went out and collected all these signatures and phone numbers, and all that information was in there. And so various documents would be in these packets. So once we had all those scanned in, as they were being scanned in, it would just assign them a sequential number. We didn't go back through and name each individual PDF for the name of the street. We just would open that document, open up that file with all the PDFs in it, click on it and see a preview of the name in the image, and then we would go find that street and then attach it. One thing that we did early on, or did in this process, is we merged our Centerline segments together. So, in your typical Centerline file, you'll have breaks at each intersection. So if you have a road that connects to 5 other roads, you would have a segment at each break. And so we didn't want to attach to every single segment, so we took and selected all those segments out of our Centerline file, copied them over to the historical Centerline layer, and then merged them from there. So just to show you how this worked, each one of these different colors will be a different segment. So starting at the bottom, that light blue is a segment, same road name. Then the orange is the same road, just another segment. Then the green, and then the purple. And so if we were going to attach a document that named this road, we would have to attach it to every single segment for it to work. So what we did instead is took each individual segment, and we selected all of them, copied them over into the other layer, the historic Centerline layer, and then we merged them from there. So here you can see is one continuous segment, Brookstone Ridge Drive. Somebody searching that, we didn't want to have the situation where you may have, in this case, 4 different segments of that same road. The document applied to the whole entire road, so we would just merge those together in the historic Centerline layer. Support it when you're doing this, that the historic Centerline layer, or whatever you decide to name, if you decide to do this project, that you enable attachments. So once we had the geometry in the correct location in the correct file, then once we would select it, we would be able to go to an attachments. And when we click on that paperclip that you see in the image here, it would lead us to the navigation folder where we can navigate to that correct PDF and then attach it to the segment. Another opportunity came up for us when we had over the summer we had an intern come in, and that intern took on a lot of this work and was very familiar with ArcMap and was looking to gain some experience. And they took on this project, and they would do the attaching part since we had all the scanning completed. After we got all this put into a shapefile, we wanted to publish this out to the public so that it would be available to anyone that worked for Forsyth County or Winston-Salem or any of the municipalities that we served and did addressing for. So each of these little pink segments that you see here are road Centerlines that we have an attachment to. So the way you would use this is when you go to our website and you click on Historic Centerline app. The app opens up, and this is the first thing you'd see. You click on the search, and you can, under step 1, you can type in part of the name, you can type in the entire name of the street, and it'll lead you to it. Here we've got, just to give you a little example of some of the information we've got. Here's Allister Road, and once you once you've found the road you want, you click on it, and it'll bring you to this little box. Will pop up once you've selected it. Then you click this, the arrow pointing to the right here, and it will take you to the attachments. Now this page then opens up, and you can see the 2 different attachments we've got. One thing we found is that people seem to forget that they have had an interaction, and with local government, and then they come up and they will call us and say, hey, this is what happened and this is what it should be. Can you guys make that change? With this, we're able to go back and look and see what the history was and know what happened, and say, no, do you actually remember back in 1994, there was a public hearing on this, and this is what's happened, and this is what the street name is, and this is where it ends, and this is where city maintenance ends, or whatever the case may be. And so here's a couple documents, that examples of documents. One is from 1980, and it's a person that was having trouble getting 911 service, and there seemed to be some confusion over where the road, which direction the road went. And another one is from 1989, with the regarding if the street is public right of way or private. So this just been it's been a great project for us. It's been something that's led to a lot of time saving for us, as if anyone in administration contacts us and needs to know something, we're able to let them know that this app is available, and all that information is right there at their fingertips. No more of us having to go and search out these documents, and valuable staff time spent making copies and scanning and emailing. We can navigate them to it over the phone, and everything that they need is there. It helps us to also, if we're right now, what we're using it for is we're taking some of the current plats that come in, and we're scanning those documents and then attaching those to Centerline segments, and that saves us one more step of having to wonder if this road has been recorded in the Register of Deeds office. We're able to go from this app, go to the road segment, click on it, and then see all the history on it, and see any plats that have been recorded for like a particular subdivision. If we wanted to see it, we don't have to search and try to find go through a deed and then see what the plat book that was recorded. We're able to go to this app, click on that Centerline segment, open up that the PDF of the plat that's recorded, and get the information that we need. So it's been a huge time saver. Really something valuable. I think that the documents that exist to name these roads only exist in one place, and so sometimes if anything ever happens to those books, then we lose a ton of valuable information. Now that they're scanned in a PDF format and easily accessible, they can live on indefinitely. So here's my contact information. If you have any questions or would like to discuss this in some more detail, feel free to reach out to me. I hope you enjoyed this presentation. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Matthew, for that awesome presentation. I know it feels good to have that complete and be able to access those files. It's crazy looking at some of those first pictures that you shared and seeing how many files and binders there were, and now knowing you can just go click on a street and bring them right up. So I know everyone's very appreciative of that and the simplicity that that's afforded them. As I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, Matthew was unable to join us live today, but if you do have questions, his contact information is on the screen. I will leave that up for a couple more minutes so you have a chance to jot that down. And then feel free to reach out to him and send him any questions that you may have. Again, thank you so much, Matthew, for your time. I appreciate that. In about 15 minutes, we'll have some new sessions starting up, so feel free to go check those out. Then we will have a session later this afternoon at 1 o'clock will be the closing session, so please make sure you attend that. It only lasts about 15 minutes, but we're looking forward to that. The poster session winners will be announced at that time as well. So thank you, everybody, for your time today, and we'll be seeing you shortly.